What's up, magical humans? Welcome back to your most magical life. I am Mia Magic, and today we are doing a little download on the Aries full moon coming up on October 20th. So this full moon is very unique in that Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And normally when we think of full moons, it's about completion. It's sort of like a cycle ending, right? So anything that we set in motion during Aries season for the new moon in March-ish, right? That cycle, those intentions from 6 months ago are basically coming to fruition or ending or completing, or anything that we've noticed about ourselves that is ready to be released. It's really the time to do that. However, what's unique about this is because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and because it is a fire sign, the fire is about our drive, our motivation, and specifically our action. So the way that the earth is our bodies or our physical material reality, the water is our emotions, the air is our mind, our intellect, our communication, our thoughts. Fire is the action. It is our power. It's how we choose to step and walk forward in our lives. And so the download that I received just in thinking about making this video for you guys was about how, even though normally a full moon would be about completion, that this full moon, in order to really embody the completion of whatever it may be, maybe it's a thought pattern, maybe it's a behavior, maybe it's a belief system about money or a relationship that you've been in, an emotion that you've been allowing to just totally overflow or overwhelm your reality. Whatever it is, you have this opportunity to come to completion with that. And one of the most powerful ways to complete a cycle in that way is to begin a new chapter or a new commitment to taking action, not against, but in the opposite way of that thing. So if you have been ready to release a particular friendship, or you need to shift the dynamic in your relationship with your family, or you are truly ready to do away with your scarcity beliefs, whatever it is, instead of this moon just being about completion, because Aries is that first sign, that first step, right? It's like the one in numerology. It's going from zero or nothingness into somethingness, into, okay, I'm taking this first step. It's very visionary. It's very confident. Those of you who have seen my reel about confidence, the word confidence comes from confidere in Latin, which means trust. So it's taking that trust fall or that first step into the unknown, into uncertainty, and being willing to walk forward, use your action, use your power to say to the universe, I'm taking this step, I'm ready. And it's like that one small step for one man, a giant leap for mankind. I'm butchering that, but you know what I mean. That small step that you take, that first step into this new chapter, this new belief, this new relationship dynamic, that can create a giant leap for your life. And you stepping into that permissive state, I am choosing to allow myself to do this. I am choosing to believe I am worthy of that. I am choosing to set boundaries so that no one can trample on me or my psyche anymore. And this is how I'm going to engage in that. That fire, the impetus of that spark, to me rings very true to what we would normally consider to be the new moon energy of setting intentions and setting our desires into motion. I'll be leading a ritual on Wednesday evening, 5 p.m. PST for this Aries full moon. If you would like to join us, click the link below. It's going to be super juicy. We've been having such amazing rituals. I'm so glad I've been back to doing live rituals again. So fun. Again, this is just my interpretation. I am not technically an astrologer. I just love to work with archetypes, and I believe, those of you who've done witch school with me, you know that I believe everything is information, everything is divination. We have the opportunity to read and interpret the signs and symbols and signals and language of the universe in order to just actualize our dreams and amplify our desires in the world. And so that is what has been coming through for me in thinking about this full moon, is that yes, of course, it's a full moon from where you were in March. I'm sure lots of us thought that all this crazy pandemic stuff was definitely going to be done by now. And there's still so many different layers of how it's showing up in everyone's unique reality. And so what were you doing in springtime? during the spring equinox or during that time, because the Aries new moon energy was right around the spring equinox. What were you setting in motion? What seeds were you planting? How have those shown up, if they have or haven't? What actions have you or have you not taken during that time? And when we think, again, like everything is divination, everything's information, the air is what fuels the fire, right? So if you smother a fire, if you completely suffocate it and give it no oxygen, it can't burn. So if your thoughts are suffocating your inspiration, your passion, your drive, your ambition, then you're not going to be able to take action. You just won't. The same as the emotions. I was just talking to someone today about she's feeling a lot. She's feeling sadness and disappointment. And the bottom line that she's experiencing is that she is letting her emotional reality completely flood her capacity to take action. She has quelled that flame of taking action and of feeling passionate and of it being inspired by the feelings of sadness and loneliness and disappointment. Now, guess what? That happens to all of us. Everybody goes through that. But what's so powerful about this moon right now is that we have an opportunity to look at how can we take action anyways, even if part of that action is giving the sadness space, silence, stillness, acceptance, saying, hey, sadness, I love you. I'm so sorry that you're like so activated and triggered right now. What do you need? What can I give you? How can I support you right now? What do you need to feel safe to express? Is it just lighting a candle and dancing or crying or screaming or hitting a pillow, or just going out into nature and letting yourself be held by the mother, this great Mother Earth that gives us all literally everything, the mother that we share? What does your sadness need? Because often so many of us have been programmed to think that our emotions are not worthy of being expressed. They're not safe. If we feel anything, we're going to be judged or rejected or abandoned, or we're not man enough, or we're a bitch, or we're too sensitive, or whatever. There's all these horrible stories about our emotions. So if we can make this space, it's sort of like if you're building a fire, right? And maybe it's really dry outside. So you want to have some water nearby just in case. And so it's like, here's this water. We know that our emotions have gifts. They have so much benevolence and so many blessings within them. Same as, oh, if it's really dry, I also might need to drink this. I might get thirsty. I might need to drink this. I might need it to put out this fire, or I might need it for my body. Maybe I need to wash. Maybe I need to imbibe. Whatever the case may be, we're always going to need that water. So how can you give the space for that water, create the container for that water, right? If there's any, I always talk about this in witch school. So if any of you are interested in diving deeper into making magic in your own modern life, then feel free to click the link below and join us there. But I always talk about this in terms of setting a magical circle. If I just pour a bunch of water down, if I'm like, oh, I need to have water nearby for this fire just in case, and I just let this water pour down, it's just going to go back into the earth. But if I have a vessel, if I have a gourd or a vase or somewhere to hold it, then it's contained and I have this water here with me. So what if your sadness just needs a container? It just needs a space to be expressed and be emoted, to feel safe, like it's accepted. It's not going to be rejected or abandoned for existing, because that's a big fear for all of us with different things, depending on our programming and our pain and our just experience of life. So how can I give this emotion or this thought, like even if it's a thought of unworthiness, it's like, okay, well, why don't I just follow it all the way into its darkest, deepest depths and see like what the worst thing that it thinks might or could happen is. Okay, I'm going to follow that. I'm going to just give it the space. And then how can I stoke the fire anyways? How can I let that sadness or that pain or that anger or that thought or that belief have its space, have its time, have its moment? And then how can I act anyway? How can I step forward, walk forward down the path in whatever way feels necessary or is the opposite of the beliefs that come from that. So if I let myself go all the way into my sadness and that makes me feel unworthy or lonely and I feel like, oh God, I can't do anything anyways, I'm just gonna fail, why would I even try? It's like, what would I do if I didn't believe that? What would I do if I believed the opposite of those stories? And just try that every day for a week and see what happens. Try it for the moon cycle, because what's powerful, right? We just had the Libra new moon 2 weeks ago, and the next new moon that's coming is Scorpio. And Scorpio is the alchemist. It is the transformation. It is the life, death, and rebirth cycle. It is the phoenix rising from the ashes. So if you set actions in motion based on Aries, very much the warrior, it's the most active sign. It's very clear on its fire. You know, the way that Sagittarius is very much directed. It's very higher mind. It's very adventure and travel. And Leo is very much expression and like, woohoo, and look at me. And not always in that way, but sometimes, most of the time. If any of you know Leos, y'all know what I'm talking about. And so Aries is that one that's like, okay, let's fucking do this. Aries is the god of war, but it's not necessarily about battle. It's about standing up for what you believe in. It's about being able to fight for what is right, for what is most important to you and for you. So how can you take action based on what you believe is most important for yourself, for your community, for the world at large? And if you decide to become the warrior, whether it's a light warrior or a healing warrior or a Shambhala warrior, for those of you that know the prophecy, whatever kind of warrior you decide to be, whatever way you desire to express or experience that fire and feel activated and take action and step forward, that new moon on November 4th, but don't worry, I'm going to be doing another video about that. But that new moon on November 4th is going to be an opportunity for you to utilize everything you've witnessed over this period of time. Wow. Even though I set myself the intention of working out every day for the next 2 weeks, or really minding my thoughts, or being more of service, 3 days a week, whatever it is, what has happened during that time that I've set this intention in motion? Do I feel empowered? Do I feel resistant and avoidant? Do I make up stories of like why I can't or why I shouldn't? Do I procrastinate and not make time for it? Or am I super amped, but then if I don't do it, I'm like doing it every day and then I don't do it one day and then I shame myself or I blame myself or I yell at myself? Really witnessing how the completion cycle of whatever it is that you're ready to release. So maybe that's like, I need to stop talking to this friend or this ex-partner, at least for the next 2 weeks. And you just find yourself, looking at your phone or checking their Instagram or yearning for them. And you're just like, oh, I just want to text them so badly. It's like, okay, what's the story in me that's saying I need to text them? What's the part of me that's feeling unmet or in need or in pain that is desiring that reaching out? Okay, how can I give myself the thing that I'm projecting they're going to give me? If I reach out and then they don't respond, and then I'm rejected, what am I going to think about myself? How can I mitigate that thought? If they do respond or reach back out, or if I text them, what am I hoping to get? What am I hoping to feel? How can I take action to give myself that feeling? What can I do in this moment right now to self-source? That's another thing about Aries, is that first sign. It's like, I got this. I'm doing this. I'm taking action. And so anything that you notice, any of the beliefs, any of the disempowering emotions that maybe get you on a downward spiral, and I have an epic downward spiral meditation. Technically it's an upward spiral meditation, but it's for dealing with the downward spiral because, man, I definitely get myself into that too. It's
very annoying. I'm like really ready to be complete with that. Good luck. It's pretty challenging to deal with that downward spiral.
We're all familiar with it, right? But when we witness that impetus or that inclination to go into the downward spiral, what can we notice? What are all the details that we can see and feel and experience that will then allow us to know what we want to take into our Scorpio new moon ritual? How can we create a death, a funeral for those things? Thank you, obituary, bless you, love you. Okay, cool, peace, bye, we're done. I am rising like the phoenix from the ashes of these patterns dying. So, this is a big moon. We also have Samhain or Halloween, All Hallows Eve, coming up right in between this, well, technically closer to the new moon, but right in between, right? October 31st, November 1st. So that's an in-between time. I'm going to make a whole nother video about that. Don't you all worry. We're going to have a whole All Hallows ritual suggestion. But just in terms of this astrological archetypal energy, as we know what we're going to do to take action, that in-between time, marking the middle between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice, right? Because in our ancient times, the 4 high holy days are holidays, which again, even in our modern time, our holidays are still based around these dates, Easter and Christmas and all of the things. Those 4 days, the winter and summer solstice and the autumn and spring equinoxes, those were the highest holy days. That is what we knew as like, this is alignment. These days are equal. This day is long. This day is short. This night is long. This night is short, etc. And the in-between times were said to be the most magical because it's not quite autumn. It's not quite winter. It's not quite spring. It's not quite summer. It's this in-between moment. The way that twilight zone is so magical. It's not quite day, it's not quite night, but it's when, you know, I was in my backyard the other day and we saw this hawk flying home to roost in its nest. And then 3 minutes later, this giant owl came swooping through our backyard. And it's like, that's a special time. That's the only time of the day or of our time period that would happen, is in the in-between time, because it's not quite day. The hawk is going home because it's the day version of that predatory bird. And then it's not quite night, but it's time for the owls to emerge. And that's the night version, that frequency of that bird of prey. So the in-between times are very special and very sacred. So to have an in-between time celebratory moment happening between this full moon in Aries and the new moon in Scorpio, this is really about seeing where, once you're really diving in, you're looking at all of these pieces and all these patterns and, okay, what makes sense here and where's this belief come from? And did I inherit this from someone? And how am I maybe acting out the patterns that my parents have acted out? And which ways do I want to emulate them? And which ways do I want to like not do what they did? And as I notice everything in terms of the action or the intentions that I set forth on this full moon, which I highly recommend, I'll get into the ritual, but I highly recommend writing everything out that you desire and burning it. Sorry, not that you desire, not like, oh, this is what I want, but what do you want to let go of? And what are you invoking? What's the action that you're committed to invoking and embodying in your life? And as you've done that, really witnessing in this in-between time on All Hallows or Day of the Dead, I'm actually going to be in Mexico for the first time. I'm very excited about that. How can your ancestors, how can the spirit realm support you in this? What information does it have for you? How can you engage in ritual? Again, I'll be making another video about this, but how can you engage in ritual that night to support you being aware of, or in that in-between time between those two astrological events? How can you utilize that to just gain deeper wisdom and understand? If you really notice this pattern is going on, wow, my dad used to do that when I was a kid and I'm really acting it out. How can you tune in, use that in-between time when the veil is thinnest to tune in with your ancestors or with your lineage and say, where did this come from? How can I heal this? How can I eradicate this? What do I need to do? What action do I need to take in order to transform this? And then that new moon of transformation where you can plant your seeds of intention and set new ways of being in motion, especially because Scorpio is a water sign. It's about going to the depths. What are the depths that I need to be willing to dive into in order to rise and shine And then the following full moon will be in Taurus, which is about our luxury, our material reality, our career, our spiritual selves, like how zen we are, how connected we are to nature. So it all builds upon itself and each other. And so I highly recommend, like I said, the ritual that I think would be most impactful. Again, you can absolutely join me in our Aries full moon ritual. It's going to be hot and spicy. But what if you just want to do something on your own at home? I would get really clear on what the habits or patterns or behaviors and specifically the actions that you've been taking, or the inaction, right? It can also be, I haven't been going to the gym or doing my spiritual practice, or I haven't been being kind to my partner. I could definitely be kinder to mine. That's going to be a big part of my action that I want to be taking. So if it's the inaction or the action, whatever it is, writing down what you're releasing. So I'm releasing procrastination around the gym, or I'm releasing, the triggers that allow me to project my pain onto my partner, or whatever it is. And then get specific, dive in, like really write through that. And then you can do whatever fiery activity, right? Whatever action feels good to you to ground this in. Maybe you just want to do a really deep stretch. Maybe you want to do a dance. Maybe you want to do a hike out in nature. Whatever it is, maybe you want to just do some breath work and really amp your vibe up and be moving around on the floor and like stomping your feet and really getting into it. Whatever you want to do, burn that list, do the action, and then if you can, take one action even in your ritual space. What would it be? Is it like sending a message out to someone that you need to talk to, that like you've been hiding your true self from and you really want to reconnect, or you really want to be able to express something and speak your truth to? Whatever it is for you, take that action. Take it in your magic circle. Take it in your magical space if you can, right? And if you can't in that exact moment, then take it the next morning. What does that look like for you? What do you most need to be doing, to be acting upon in order to feel that you are the embodiment of that warrior for whatever it is you believe in, for whatever world you want to create, for whatever heaven on earth experience you desire to manifest and live in and share with your community, your loved ones, and ultimately, hopefully, the whole world, right? So again, we're going to be doing a beautiful ritual on Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST. Actually, I guess we're in PDT. For those of you that get confused, it's Pacific time right now. We haven't done daylight savings time yet, but it's Pacific time, 5 o'clock, and it's going to be super beautiful. And again, these are just archetypal invitations for you to work with so that you can connect to the moon and the wisdom. The word witch means wise. I say it all the time. And so this is just about you harnessing and channeling your own wisdom, connecting to your own intuition. And if this ritual doesn't resonate for you, even that whole day, Wednesday the 20th, if you want to just be in taking action, like what would you do that day if every activity on your list, everything on your schedule was like, this is the highest version of me. This is the high vision of me. This is the embodiment of my higher self. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to spend 20 minutes meditating. I'm going to make love. I'm going to work on my business. I'm going to, have a deep, beautiful conversation with a friend, or I'm going to dress exactly the way that I want. And you spent the whole day being in the actions that represent the version of you who has come to completion with the old patterns, whether that's of procrastination or of unworthiness, whatever it is, that in itself is a ritual. That is some of the most powerful ritualistic action you can take, as a matter of fact, because you're embodying it and you're showing the universe, you're communicating to it, hey, this is who I want to be. This is where I want to be. This is how I want to be. And I'm willing to take the action to set that energy in motion. Can you meet me? Can you come to me here and help clear the way so that I can keep walking forward in a good way, in the beauty way, and be the greatest vessel for that universal life force energy and consciousness, and be in service to my power, which really, it's never our own individual power, it's the power. It's universal power that we all have the opportunity to access and harness if we so choose, and then walk forward in service to that, in saying, thank you for blessing me with this power. I choose to take action in service of this power, as a vessel for this power, and truly in honor of this power, in reverence to it, as an expression of it. The first thing that I ever saw at Burning Man, I've talked about this before, I walked in my first day and I stepped up and climbed on the man. And the first thing I saw, and any of you who know me in my videos, y'all know I love trees. I love nature, okay? And it said, be like a tree. Always stand tall so that others will see you and remember to do the same. So that's what this action is about. It's about standing tall in what you believe in what you feel is important, in what you are in service to. Being the warrior for your life, protecting what is sacred, most sacred to you. And as you do that, as you stand tall, as you shine your light, as you are willing to take action, even when it's hard, even when there's sadness or when there's loneliness or when there's a belief that you're not worthy, and doing it anyways, that other people will see you. And even if they don't know what you've been through in order to take that action, they will be energetically affected. Your frequency will impact them. And that's what this moon and this in-between time at Samhain and All Hallows is all about. That is what then will allow us to create the beautiful and powerful transformation. And remember, this is an ongoing process. This is happening all the time. We have the opportunity. If you don't spend Wednesday, every single action you take is in alignment. It's like, that's okay. Try Thursday, try Friday, try spending half a day each of those days or through for the next 2 weeks, being only in the action that most inspires you and that is you standing for what you truly believe in and for who you truly desire to be. So thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with anyone you think it would resonate with. I am Mia Magic. I'm wishing you so many full moon blessings. And if you'd like to join us, again, click the link below, and welcome to your most magical life.